بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام را. تلك آيات الكتاب الحكيم. أكان للناس عجبا أن أوحينا إلى رجل منهم أن أنذر الناس وبشر الذين آمنوا أن لهم قدم صدق عند ربهم. قال الكافرون إن هذا لساحر مبين.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We thank Almighty Allah who had given us the power, the knowledge, the wisdom, the patience for us to execute the responsibility we have been bestowed with. We thank Almighty Allah for that. We had been discussing Quranic concepts we have discussed a lot for those who will listen and understand, except the recalcitrant, those who are stubborn, who do not want to listen to the word of Almighty Allah. For those who say, Sami'na wa aswayna. Some say we have heard, but we will not follow. Sami'na wa ata'na. Some say we have heard and we obeyed. People of that category, inshallah, they will be in the paradise. The other former will be in hellfire. Almighty Allah knows best. We have gathered ourselves. One or two things that will be done. When they are done, there is every possibility, perhaps, that will make you to be in the paradise. We are still discussing charity, rather alms given. That is where we are still discussing, because Almighty Allah has pinpointed about 8 categories of people that Sadaqah will be given to. It is not negotiable. You know why? Because Almighty Allah has ordained it. No prophet, no malaika will, however, as you this point, they don't have contribution. What they do is they elaborate for a better understanding. May Almighty Allah give us understanding. We all have Quran, the glorious Quran. It is the Quran we have here, we have all over the world. It is the Quran we have here that is being recited all over the world. It is the translation we are given that is being given all over the world. No one has his own translation. No one has his own meaning to give, except you do not understand it. That is why the meaning you will give will be different from what other person will give. May Almighty Allah give us a good teacher. May Almighty Allah give us a good teacher. We had the opportunity to see teachers. Whatever they taught us, we thank Almighty Allah that He made us to grab them. We are still grabbing. We don't know when we will stop grabbing. The day we will stop grabbing is the day that Almighty Allah will ask Azariah to go and take that life given to us. May Almighty Allah help us. May Almighty Allah guide us. If you have Quran, if you have Ibn Kathir, go to the 2nd volume. If you have Qurtubi, Imam Qurtubi, go to volume 7. turn to chapter 9, verse 60. You will find out what Almighty Allah said there. He said, Innama sadaqatu lil fuqara'i wal miskin wal masakin wal amilina 'alayha wal mu'alafati qulubuhum وفي رقاب والغارمين وفي سبيل الله وابن السبيل فريضة من الله والله عليم حكيم. If you take time to count what we have there, you will discover that we have about 8 categories of people. Almighty Allah says Sadaqah will be given. When we talk in terms of Sadaqah, we are talking in terms of Zakah. It was before Zakah was being ordained, Sadaqah had been in existence. At that particular point in time of ages, no one was receiving Sadaqah. When Sadaqah is being kept on the ground, fire will come to consume it. And once fire has consumed it, it then means that that Sadaqah had been accepted. The Almighty Allah accept our Sadaqah. But Sadaqah is being made facilitated now because a lot of people are begging for alms. A lot of people are asking for alms, so on and so forth. May Almighty Allah give us the wherewithal to be able to do Sadaqah. Almighty Allah said, Sadaqah, yani Zakah, li means for, Fuqara'i, those who are poor. Wali Masakin, those who are poor. We won't want to look at the two. Poor. One is absolutely poor, while the other one is relatively poor. This has caused a lot of argument, a lot of debate among school of thoughts. We have about 3 different school of thought. One of the school of thought says that Fuqara is better, is worse than Masakin. Because when we talk in terms of Fuqara, it is absolutely poor. He has nothing to lean on. He has nothing to feed on. While the Masakin are those category of people, relatively, they are not poor like that, but they don't have anything to dwell on, enough to dwell on, but they can't manage. While another school of thought said that Fuqara is better than Masakin, because Masakin is the one that is absolutely poor, while the Fuqara is relatively poor. While another school of thought said they are equal. Fuqara, absolutely poor. Masakin, absolutely poor. What differs here is the name, but they are talking about one thing. They are discussing about one thing. Therefore, there is no different about them. The Almighty Allah said, we are talking in terms of an institution, we are talking in terms of an organization where an office has to be established. When an office is being established, where people who are working in there, they must receive their salary. That is وَلِآمِنِينَ عَلَيْهَا, those who are working as workers, they must receive their entitlement. They must receive their stipends, so on and so forth. They must be paid at the end of the month. It could be weekly, it could be what? depending on the structure, that the money will amilina aleha, those who are working, receiving, dispensing. At the end, forget about whether he's rich, he's poor, as long as he's being engaged, he has to what? Receive his remuneration. You must pay him. Then he said, those whose hearts are being tried to be won, either to warn them, to woo them into Islam, whatsoever, you need to give them from that purse of zakah. It is very simple in a situation where we have one central body, one central government that is given planning, like the socialist economy. That is where it is more effective and efficient. If they are not there, where we have capitalists or mixed economy, where we have corruption, maladministration, so on and so forth, people violating the treasury of the state, people what? Embezzlement, so on and so forth, corruption in everywhere. It will not be evenly being distributed. What we are talking here is evil distribution. That is what we are saying. Let no one person get hold of everything. Let no one person trying to what? To take control, take authority, take responsibility of everything. Let it be that it is being proven like the way it is already what? Been described. May Almighty Allah help us. May Almighty Allah help us. We further said, having said so, he said, وَفِي رِقَابِ, you may decide to use from that word to free a slave girl or a slave boy. The emancipation. You must what? You must free. You must set them free. So on and so forth. In case they were having a time to say they want to pay, they could obey. You could take money from the treasury, the state treasury of the zakah, to what? To pay. May Almighty Allah make us obey what Almighty Allah has said. Then from there, he said, what if God remain? Those who are debtors, those who fall into debt, something could have made it possible. They were trying to either discharge the responsibility of Almighty Allah, then they fall into debt. People like that, they were being expected that from that treasury they will give them their what? Zakah. That is what Almighty Allah said. Then he said, وَفِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, those who are going to war, those who need money to go to war, you're going to give them money, you're going to give them food, you're going to give them whatever provision and sustenance, but take money from that purse. You may not use from your personal pocket, but go to the state, the community purse, in order, the family purse, in order for you to be able to take good control of that situation. Almighty Allah says so. A lot of wells were being executed. They were being trashed. Almighty Allah gave power for them to be taken good care of. He now said, Waben is Sabil. That is Abil Sabil. Is someone on the move. He was cut short of the movement as a result of maybe Kakoto Itorik, armed robbery, lease, armed robbery, theft. They were all cut short. Because for them to be able to move to their final destination, they can't stop over to ask for help in order for them to get to where they are going to. Forget about whether the person is worthy, forget about whether the person is rich, whatever you want. At that particular point in time, he is no longer rich because he has been what? Defrauded. He has been what? Robbed, so on and so forth. May Almighty Allah help us. May Almighty Allah help us. Then Almighty Allah made it so clear. He said, for the time min Allah, wajibatum min Allah. It is compulsory. It is a dutiful. it is what? Responsibility or authority from Almighty Allah, which you must work with. We must do what Almighty Allah asked us to do. We may not leave that path, so on and so forth. We have agreed upon that, so on and so forth. Then after having said so, he said, Wallahu Almighty Allah, Alim, he knows, Hakim is wiser. He is wise. He is very wise. He is the wisest. He has wisdom. Everything he has sent down, there is a wisdom backing it up. Without wisdom, nothing can be heard. Having said so, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam now is in charge to break everything to our understanding, that it has been made to be understood that the rich people will definitely not be given sadaqah. We must know what we need in life to do. When Almighty Allah has spoken, no one has rights, no one has any knowledge to say, I want to challenge what Almighty Allah has said. Even the Prophet cannot challenge what Almighty Allah has said. Therefore, what they do is for them to make it so clear for the followers to understand. This is sadaqah. If you look at critically, looking at it from our fundamental understanding, you will discover that we have category of segment, 3 categories of segment, or we have 3 categories of level. We have the high level, the higher level, the middle level, and the lower level. What are we looking at here? That we need to task those high level, income level. We need to task the middle income level, where we have tasked them will be used on the poor segment of the economy. We need to make them to be happy. We need to make them to create economic activities. We need to make a social activities. We talk in terms of a lot of things have been worked into development. A lot of things have been going on. Standard of living, high standard of living must be maintained. That is what we are saying. We must ensure that good life is for the world, the lower segment of the economy. We must ensure they are happy, and they must always be happy. That is what Almighty Allah said. He never want to want corruption. He never want equal inequality. He want equal income to be distributed evenly. They don't want one to be worse off, another one to be better off. But all the ordinary says one must be better off, while the other one must worse off. But however it goes, it has to be what? Evenly distributed, because there are formulas that you are going to use in order for this to be done effectively. May Almighty Allah guide us. Amen. May Almighty Allah guide us.
Amen.
We have no Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam has said that 3 categories of people will be given tasks, or 3 categories of people, because of what has befallen them, they will be given from the treasury of the state. The Zakat purse must go back there. If you go to what is recently trending, you discover that people collect money. Go to mosque, they collect money every Friday. Sometimes any day they collect money. That money that is being collected is a community money. It has to be in the community purse. As long as there is a challenge, someone, somebody who is on the journey and is facing difficulties, one of the things will have happened to the person. Therefore, they have to visit that purse and remove the money and give to that person to travel, to embark on travel. But it is gradually be what? Degrading now. There are some people who do not have challenge, who come and begin to say they have challenge. People tell lies too much. We don't even know who to believe. We don't even know what to believe. That has been why that some of those things people don't want to listen to them, because a lot of people had what? Designed other ways of exploiting people. May Almighty Allah not let us exploit people. Having said so, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, he said, number one of somebody that you can have is a man hamalata. He has a responsibility, like for example, as a guarantor, a man who has stood a guarantor for someone, and that other man whose name guarantor was being borrowed has defaulted. Then the guarantor will be resorted to come and pay. In that situation, in order to avoid problems, then the community pause will be visited in order to augment. Maybe he has some money, he could not complete the money, and the other person said, no, I am not going back on this discussion. You are going to give me that money today. I need that money. If you do not give me that money, I am going to take you to station. We are going to police station. And if that's a person, I do not want to go to police station. What you need to do is to resort to the chairman of that committee in charge of what? Sadaqah, Zakat. Then you make it understood to them that this is what is happening. Then from there they will give you money. Someone who has an affliction, who has sickness, everywhere we have sickness. Today some people have asthma, some have cancer, kidney problem, liver problem, or whatever problem. And the medication is too expensive for that person to bear. They can resort to the state purse for them to remove some amount of money for that situation to be taken good care of. They must do that. That is the state money. That someone who falls into poverty, that is the third person. Someone who falls into poverty, that person must be what? Money should be gathered for that person. Treasury will be visited in order to ensure that person's poverty is being exonerated from. He should not die of poverty. So on and so forth. That is what it is being said. Then Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, he made it clear again. There are about 5 categories of people who will be given sadaqah, to 5 of them. He said, this is a man who is on battlefield, fi sabilillah, ligazi fi sabilillah. He's on the battleground, he's fighting, and all his sustenance has been exhausted. He needs to be what? To be aided. He needs to be helped. So on and so forth. Where they have to go to the purse, the state purse of Zakat, where they will definitely help them. When he said so, he said, Li'amili alayha, those, a man that is in charge of that, whether is the chairman, whether is the treasurer, the secretary, or the other workers, they must be paid their what? Their remuneration. At the end of the month, they should be paid. So on and so forth. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam says so. When he says so, he said, Arajulu, this is a man, and this man is in the cause of Almighty Allah. Those are the people pushing Islam. They push it, they move from one place to another. They need mobility, something to be moving with. So if they need a thing like that, the treasury of the zakat can be visited in order for money to be taken from them to help them to get a bus that will be conveying them to wherever they are going to. That will conveying them from one place to another, so on and so forth. That is what Almighty Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. He said, this is a man who has money. Because he has money, he has gone to maybe raw zakat was being given. This man uses his money to purchase everything, so on and so forth. Then he said, this is a man, this man is a poor neighbor, and somebody gives him what? Sadaqah or zakat. Then he uses that zakat as a gift to a rich man, so on and so forth. That is another 5 categories of people. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, from what he has understood from the ayah of the glorious Quran, he said, those type of people, despite we are saying they are rich, but if they are in this situation, they must be helped. A rich man who is on the war front, he should have exhausted the money he accompanied himself with, so on and so forth. Because of that reason, zakat should be given to them. May Almighty Allah guide us. May Almighty Allah let our money be used judiciously. May Almighty Allah not let our wealth be used on doing one evil. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Sallu ala nabiyyil karim sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam.
فجرا جئت بعد العسر يسرا رب